folks, and welcome to Paddock Pass, your post-qualifying edition for the 2020 Russian Grand Prix at the Sochi Autodrome. Well, that was an interesting session, if I say so myself. It was probably what we did not expect, as we are trying to see how it's going to go in the way of awesomeness, in the way of interestingness. So anyway, I'm not going to get into a discussion what's going on deal, but anyway, yes, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Alright, as I'm letting everybody know, apologies for the delay. It's going to be interesting to see how that will go in the coronation. So, yeah. I'm not going to worry about what's going on in there. Hi, Sean Art. But, yeah, let's start at the start with Q1 before I get my head out of the way. So Q1 was kind of interesting because, you know, you have early part, the Williams go out, try to set their times, and then as we get into later in the session, the times start getting faster and faster. And I'm going to go from back to front, because this is how it goes. So, P20, Kimi Räikkönen, has not been AlphaTauri's season. They've been really struggling, and I don't know what happened in between the last round in Mugello and here at Sochi, but just couldn't get out of Q1, so that's a shame. So Kimi Räikkönen P20, P19 Nicholas Latifi still trying to get into Q2. I mean, he's kind of trying to get there, but he's kind of not there in that respect so far here in the day. P18 Kevin Magnussen. Haas has been really inconsistent, and I've noticed that when I've been seeing the times from FP1 to FP3, they've been really inconsistent on practice time. I just don't think they're going to have a good weekend so far. P17, Antonio Giovinazzi. Like I said, not been a good weekend for Alfa Romeo, and not been a good weekend as well for Haas. Roman Grosjean, P16. Raikkonen said he lost. They've really been struggling with pace pretty much the entire weekend. Thinks tomorrow it's not going to be a pretty good race, if you ask me. So those were the 5 that got eliminated. P20 Kimi Räikkönen, P19 Nicholas Latifi, P18 Kevin Magnussen, P17 Antonio Giovinazzi, P16 Roman Grosjean, which brings us to Q2. So Q2 was kind of one of those sessions that got a little scary. On the first lap, Lewis Hamilton ran wide on the last corner. Set the fastest lap. Gone. Due to track limits. But then this is when the session got really interesting. Sebastian Vettel, coming into this right-hander right here on this track map, lost control of the car into the barriers. He's okay. Sadly, the car is not. Threw the red flag, and we thought Lewis Hamilton wasn't even going to make it to Q3. What, dear? Hang on. So the red flag comes out, and with about a second to go, Hamilton just barely started his lap. And barely, as I hit the wrong button, barely got into Q3, as I'll be right back. Alright, I am back, y'all. So talk about close call for the championship leader. Otherwise, he would be stuck in the mid-pack, and it would be a difficult task for him to make it up the field tomorrow if the session didn't get restarted. But it did, and Hamilton got very lucky. Otherwise, that could have been championship and weekly show implications, if you ask me. So here are the people who didn't make it into Q3. P15, Sebastian Vettel. More than likely, he's going to start from the pit lane. They're going to have to change the front wing. They're going to have to rebuild somewhat of the car, and he'll more than likely have to start from pit lane, if you ask me. So that's a shame. P14, George Russell. Another good job for Georgie making it into Q2. You know, he's finally got some confidence. And Williams, you know, ever since Frank and Claire Williams left after Monza, we thought, can Williams do well without Claire and Frank? And so far, they're trying their best. They're trying. At least they're doing a better job, if you ask me. But we will have to wait and see how that goes into the weekend itself tomorrow. But another good qualifying effort from Georgie. Out-qualified Sebastian Vettel, surprisingly. That's pretty good. P13, Lance Stroll. He should have made it to Q3. He should. Because he might have had a lot of issues with the car. And remember, Nicholas Latifi lost the last 30 minutes of FP1. You know, what could have happened if he didn't have that incident? Who knows what would have happened so far. P12, Danny Kvyat of AlphaTauri in his home Grand Prix. That was kind of the best he was hoping for, but depending if we have grid penalties for engine components and all that, but still an okay for qualifying. P11, Charles Leclerc. Last year, Ferrari was on the front row. This year, they didn't even get to Q3. So, you know, 11th on 20th, we'll get a free choice of tires. So that'll be interesting since the race is going to be dry tomorrow. So that's pretty good so far. And yeah, so there you go. So that is positions 20 through 11. P15 Vettel, which will start the pit lane. Russell P14, Stroll P13, Kvyat P12. Leclerc P11, which brings us all to Q3. Q3 was interesting because with the two Ferraris struggling, it's interesting to see how that goes in the way they expected. Of course, Hamilton will start on the soft tire because he ran about one lap or so on the medium tire, and he ended up qualifying on softs. Top 10, I think, is on softs, if I'm correct so far. So, yeah. P10, Alex Albon. Red Bull has this little issue with trying to find a good driver to compete against Max Verstappen, and, you know, it may not, I mean, Albon may not have what Max has got, but you know, he's given it all he's got so far in the race. So we'll see if Albon can get some good results like what he got his first podium last time out in Mugello. P9, Pierre Gasly, the Italian GP winner. Out-qualified his teammate. Could have... Yeah, I bet he'll be pleased. P8, Lando Norris. And we saw what happened to Carlos Sainz when he missed also most of FP, I think it was either FP1 or FP2, because the rear wing on the back of the McLaren was hanging out. Well done to the boys and girls at McLaren. So P8 for Lando Norris. P7 Esteban Ocon. Good qualifying for him. P6 Carlos Sainz. Well done to McLaren to get that rear wing fixed after he backed in the wall going into, I think it's turn 9 or so. And that's pretty good for Carlos because, you know, he needed some confidence after that big crash in free practice. It was actually free practice when he crashed, so not too bad. Good job for Sainz for P6. P5, Daniel Ricciardo. Brilliant qualifying for the Australian. And Renault has really been doing fantastic. You know, they almost got on the podium back in Mugello 2 weeks ago. You know, they look pretty good. P4 Sergio Perez, his best qualifying of the season. And of course, he outqualified his teammate Lance Stroll. P3 Valtteri Bottas was quick throughout the entire practice. Didn't do well in qualifying when it mattered the most. So we'll see if he'll try to take the fight tomorrow. P2 Max Verstappen, and on the pole, after almost getting eliminated in Q2, Lewis Hamilton by 0.5 of a second. So that is the qualifying results so far, and it's going to be interesting to see where what we could see in tomorrow's race. It's going to be interesting to see how that's going to play out in that regard. You know, it's really going to be fun to see how that will play out tomorrow. So that's pretty good to see Hamilton after almost getting beaten. So yeah, everybody qualified on soft. Ricardo only set 1 lap time on soft, so he has probably an extra set of tires. You know, we'll see how it goes into tomorrow's race. Question is, can Lewis Hamilton break Michael Schumacher's record? Can Max Verstappen take the fight to Mercedes? Can Valtteri Bottas do something? What about the midfield battle? Only time will tell in that regard. But that is your lot from Paddock Pass, and not a long episode of Paddock Pass for your post-qualifying edition for the Russian Grand Prix, but we're going to have to see how that will go for the race itself tomorrow, because Sochi kind of is either going to be a barnstormer race or could sometimes be a snoozer, because you know, and I've raced at this track on the F1 games, and it's really hard to try to take care of the tires, if you know what I mean. But it should be interesting, to say the least. And also, I want to send my prayers to J-Ski, whose dad passed away today. So we want to send prayers to him so far. But that is your lot from Paddock Pass. We hope you guys enjoyed this show and all that, so can't wait to see what's going to happen in the race tomorrow itself. It's going to be like around, I don't know, 6 or 7 in the morning, so we'll probably still be asleep by then and all that good stuff. So that is your lot. Thanks for following along. Thanks for joining me for Paddock Pass for the 2020 Russian Grand Prix. Best wishes to Will Buxton. Hopefully he'll be back in time for our next race in 2 weeks' time at the Eiffel Tower. I think it's the Eiffel Grand Prix, but I call it the German Grand Prix, but you get my point. But anyway, yeah, so from all of us here, and from me, and from you guys, that's your lot. Thanks for watching, and we will see you later. For now, from us, we'll talk to you soon.